on Wednesday, April 13th. You need to take a roll.
And you can have introductions before we get from the roll.
Great, okay. So again, for everybody, I am Jeff O'Brien with Louisville Metro Government. If we want to go around the room and introduce who we are, that would be excellent.
Tom Hall, KYTC District 5 Planning.
Beth Jones, KYTC Central Office Planning.
Jean Hickerson, KYTC District 5 Planning.
John Callahan, Louisville Metro Government.
Emily Liu with Louisville Metro Government.
Michelle King with Louisville Metro Air Pollution Control District.
Dirk Owen, Louisville Metro Public Works.
Jim Mims, Louisville Metro.
Brian Dixon, Clark County.
Jim Urban, Oldham County.
Larry Cheney, Kipta.
Ashley Davidson,
Congratulations.
I'm Mary Lou Halder with KIPTA.
David Burke with Kipta. Michael Kipta.
Lori Kelsey with KIPTA.
Andy Rush, Kipta.
Randy Salmon, Kipta.
Rose Robinson from
Chris Ralston, representing Regional Building Council.
John Littell, Michael Baker. Nick Creevy, River Hills. Tony Harrover, HMD.
Brian Aldridge with Stantec.
Excellent. Okay, we have some minutes from January 13th. I'm guessing that's 2016, not 2015, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Is there any comments, changes? Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
A second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we are at our public comment period. Do we have any comments from members of the public? Going once? Okay, excellent. Okay, Larry, I think we're on to our next agenda item, which looks like it's a Transportation Policy Committee report.
Yes, sir. The Transportation Policy Committee met last on February 25th. At that meeting, we had Thomas L. Nelson, the new division administrator from the Kentucky Federal Highway Administration Office, to talk to us about the FAST Act, the Fixing America's Surface Transportation Act. We had a presentation from Rebecca Matheny on the Nulu Streetscape project. We had a presentation from our chairman about the Transforming Dixie Highway project. We dealt with some changes in the dedicated funding for Indiana, and we had administrative modifications.
Excellent. Okay. Is that it? Any questions? All right. All right. We're on to agenda item 5. Moving right along here. Mary Lou, I think you were requesting action on the Horizon 2035 Metropolitan Transportation Plan and the FY 2015 to FY 2018 Transportation Improvement Plan.
Yes. Multiple project sponsors have requested changes to some projects that are in the Metropolitan Transportation Plan and the Transportation Improvement Program. And that has prompted amendments to both of those documents. Now, these changes were included in your packet that you received. Hopefully you've had a chance to look over some of these. The changes that were submitted are both for air quality exempt and air quality non-exempt projects. In an effort to expedite the process for some of the projects, we separated the projects into two different amendments. Amendment 5 is going to contain the air quality exempt projects, and Amendment 6 will contain the air quality non-exempt, or the more regionally significant projects. And those non-exempt projects, they need to go through the full conformity review process. It takes considerably longer. So the interagency consultation group had a conference call on February 23rd to discuss the projects and to determine which of those two categories those fall into. A regional emissions analysis was conducted on the plan and shown to pass conformity, and therefore the MTP, including all of these changes, meets the air quality standards for our area. The TIP is a subset of our Metropolitan Transportation Plan, and therefore it also meets conformity. I'm going to go over a few of the projects. There's quite a few projects, but I'm only going to go over a few of them because it would take way too long. Let's see. See what we can do here. Okay, so the first one up there is the Port of Indiana truck to rail and rail to water improvements. These are, it's a Tiger grant that we received, and it's for improvements at the Port of Indiana in Jeffersonville. We are adding the project to the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, and we have a total project cost on that of $17 million. It's estimated to be completed in 2020. And we're adding the project to the TIP as well. There are different phases being added in 2016, 17, 18, a lot of design in 2016, 17, 18, construction in 2017, and as well as 2018. Again, those are Tiger funds, which are federal funds that have to go, a lot of you are familiar with those. We received a couple of those grants in this area recently. The second project is the Salem Noble Road project in Clark County. And this is to reconstruct the two-lane road from Indiana 62 to Indiana 403. There's no change to this project in the plan. The change in the TIP is to delete the fiscal year 2016 right-of-way. Let's see, moving along. The next project is the Dixie Highway Tiger project. This is another Tiger grant that we received, Louisville Metro received. This project is going to include ITS signal improvements, complete street improvements, bus rapid transit, and it's for the whole Dixie Highway corridor from Kentucky 841 to Broadway. And we are adding the project to the Metropolitan Transportation Plan, and the project cost is $28,910,000. And then we're also adding, and I should say, an estimated open to public is in 2018. And we're adding the project to the Transportation Improvement Program, and a lot of different phases being added there. We have design, right-of-way, utilities, and construction in 2016, and then some transit capital construction in 2017. And again, these are federal Tiger funds. The next project is the Northeast Louisville Loop. I'm sorry, no, I went out of order. River Road bicycle and pedestrian improvements. This is a shared use path from the Big Four Bridge of the Louisville Loop to the city of Prospect at US 42. There's no change anticipated to the plan at this time. We are shifting phases and deleting the 2017 construction on that. Then, the Northeast Louisville Loop. Okay. Northeast Louisville Loop Section 2, which is a shared use path from the Eastwood Cutoff Road to the Eastwood Recreation Center. So again, no change to the plan on this one. We're adding 2016 right-of-way and adding 2017 utilities, and these are SLO funds. Then moving into Amendment 6. Next sheet. Okay, moving into Amendment 6, we have Cooper Chapel Road Phase 3. This is new road construction from Beulah Church Road to Bardstown Road. And this is already included in the plan, and there's no change to that. In the TIP, we are moving the 2016 right-of-way to 2017, and moving the 2017 utilities to 2018, and deleting the 2018 construction. These are SLO funds. Then we have the I-65, the Brook and Floyd Street ramp downtown. In the plan, we have no change. In the TIP, we're moving the design from 2016 to 2018 and deleting the 2018 utilities. Another I-65 project is a new interchange in Bullitt County. It's to improve the ingress and egress with I-65 for the Cedar Grove Industrial Park by constructing a new interchange and connector and reconstructing the I-65 southbound exit ramp to Kentucky 480. This is a new project we're adding to the plan. The cost is $35.5 million. Estimated open to public is in 2022. And we're adding the project to the TIP and adding design in 2015, and these are state funds. Then we have Kentucky 1931. There's no change in the plan. This is a widening from Dixie Highway to Doss High School. There's no change in the plan. In the TIP, we are moving design from 2015 to 2016, and adding utilities, and these are SLO funds as well. Okay, we have the Northwestern Parkway Road Diet Project. This it's a road diet project, and some one-way, two-way conversion. It was between Portland Avenue to 38th Street. And we are deleting this project from the plan. It's not in the TIP, but we're deleting it from the plan. But to replace it with the project underneath, which is the Louisville Loop Northwestern Parkway, which is bicycle and pedestrian facilities and a road diet. And we're adding this project to the plan at $3 million, $3,038,000 project cost, open to public in 2020, and it's not in the TIP yet, or not being added to the TIP yet. Okay. Then we have the Olmsted Parkway's multi-use path system Southern Parkway project. This is a shared use path along Southern Parkway between South 3rd and New Cut Road and reducing the roadway from 4 to 3 lanes. There's no change in the plan. It's already in the plan. In the TIP, we are adding 2017 utilities and deleting the 2017 construction on that, and those are SLO funds. And then the last one that I'll talk about is the River Road Extension Project, and this is to extend River Road from 7th Street to Northwestern Parkway. There's no change in the plan. It's already there. We're moving the 2015 design to 2017 and adding 2018 right-of-way funding, and this is STP urban or SLO funds. So hopefully what did I do, David? Hopefully you've had a chance to look at the rest of the projects. There's quite a few other projects on the list. There's quite a few transit projects that are being added using the Section 5310 funds. There was another project that's CMAQ funding, that's a UPS CNG vehicle infrastructure and development project, which is new, which is being added. But in the interest of time, I'm not going to go through all of those. Now, all of these projects also underwent public review, and Ashley is going to talk about that.
Okay, we did have a public comment period. It was 15 days as required. It was from March 25th until April 8th, and we had one day that we had an open house held at the Southwest Regional Library. At the Southwest Regional Library, we spoke to 3 different people. One person gave us a comment, and her comment was that she uses TARC-3 on a regular basis and has experienced quite a bit of problems with tardiness and being picked up when she needs the ride. We also received comments from Community Remarks. That was the online engagement tool that we talked to you about in January. We got 2 comments from that. The one comment stated that they would like to see bike and pedestrian added to the River Road Extension, which was the last project Mary Lou talked about. And the other comment is from someone who says they would like to see TARC-3 added to a southwest portion of Jefferson County where one of her friends is disabled and is not able to use the transit services because she's too far from the TARC-3 line. We also have a feature on the Community Remarks where you can do a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So we got 13 thumbs ups and 1/3 thumb down. The 2 projects that got the most thumbs up were the Greenways project, which got 3 thumbs up, and the Dixie Highway Tiger Grant project. It got 3 thumbs up. And the only project that got a thumbs down was the Olmsted Parkway's Southern Parkway. They gave it a thumbs down, but it also got 1 thumbs up, so I guess they cancel each other out. I have all of these comments. If anyone needs a copy of them or wants to see them, just contact me and I'm happy to share that information.
Okay, thank you, Ashley. Okay, action is requested on this, but I'm actually requesting 4 separate actions. This might be a little confusing, but we're requesting that action to recommend approval of Amendment 5 of the MTP, requested to approve Amendment 6 of the MTP, and then action for Amendment 5 of the TIP, and action for Amendment 6 of the TIP. And I'm sorry, they all have to be separate, though.
Okay, so you need a recommendation on the third and fourth action, if you could repeat those.
I make a motion to accept action 5 of the MTP.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Excuse me, who was the second on that?
Matt.
Matt.
Okay, so we need a motion to approve Amendment 6.
Motion to approve Amendment 6 to the MTP.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
Motion to approve Amendment 5 of the TIP.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Motion to approve Amendment 6 of the TIP.
Second already.
All those in favor? Opposed? Great,
Thank you.
thank you. Thanks,
Thanks,
Eric.
Mary Lou.
I was gonna spend all afternoon writing those down. Okay, we're on to agenda item 6. We are talking about the Transportation Alternatives Program, and we are again asking for action. And Nick, take it away.
All right, I'm here today to request your recommendation for TPC approval on two separate but related TAP items. First, just as a reminder, the Transportation Alternatives Program is designed to fund a range of projects for bicycle and pedestrian access. Examples of eligible projects are sidewalks, bike lanes, and several others listed up here. This year, KIPTA actually had our own pot of funding in Kentucky and Indiana that we sought out to award within the region. This slide just kind of shows a brief timeline of what's occurred so far. Back in August, the TPC approved a local selection process. September, KIPTA announced the open call for projects for Indiana and Kentucky LPAs. And October 16th, we received applications only from Kentucky LPAs, so we re-released the call for projects for Indiana folks back in December 4th. And then on December 17th, the TPC did award TAP funds to 6 Kentucky projects. So what are the next steps? This is really why I'm here today. The first is on that first set of Kentucky projects that were approved, we are asking to increase the budgets for those by 10% to account for KYTC staff oversight. And then the second one is a request for approval for 2 Indiana TAP projects that we have since received. So a little bit about the Kentucky projects and the request I'm making here. We received some clarification from the Office of Local Programs indicating that even these MPO selected projects must include this 10% for project oversight. The only exception being TARP projects because those funds are going to be flexed from Federal Highways Administration to FTA, and so there's no oversight necessary on KYTC's part. The regional impact of this is that $360,000 approximately in additional TAP dollars must be added to these 5 projects, and those 5 projects are listed in the handout in the meeting packet. The good news is LPAs will not be asked to provide additional local funds to match those at 10% increase. KYTC is going to use their toll credits in lieu of the match. So just for a little background, kind of where things stand funding-wise in the region. In the fall, we had a balance of about $4.4 million in TAP funds. Back in December, the TPC approved 6 projects totaling $2.9 million. And this increase of, for KYTC, the 10%, brings us to about $1.1 million left over. And the current plan right now, and we're still kind of talking about it, is more than likely to conduct another call for projects for KY, for Kentucky money later this year. So that's kind of a summary of what I'm requesting approval for on the Kentucky side. On the Indiana side of things, we received 2 projects that are listed here. The first was from the city of New Albany. They requested $227,000 in federal TAP funds. This is part of a larger project they have going on downtown where they're doing one-way to two-way street conversions. And so the work that they'd be doing with TAP funds would be bike lanes, installing bike lanes, and doing some traffic calming such as bump outs and things like that. The TARP project we received was originally for about $450,000. They afterwards revised it to a little less than $227,000. This is a project they're partnering with the city of Jeffersonville. They're going to be improving 8 different bus stops along the eastern Boulevard Spring Street area. where they have a route, and then also constructing new sidewalk where there is none today, to make it a little more accessible.
And the reason why we asked them to pare that project back was because in Indiana, if we get money in a particular year, we have to spend it in that particular year. We cannot spend any more, or we shouldn't spend any less. We cannot spend any more. So we're receiving around $227,000 per year in TAP funds in Indiana.
Thanks, Larry. And so again, here's kind of just a summary of where the funding will stand if TPC takes action. We would have about $4 left. So more than likely, we will hold off on another call for projects until we receive another allocation of TAP funding.
Unless we have a $4 project.
Unless we have a $4 project.
Can I buy a latte?
Yeah, I was gonna say by the contractor.
I want to cover your fees on the.
80-cent local match. All right, so the specific actions I'm requesting today are twofold. One is to recommend that TPC award a total of $360,537 in Kentucky TAP funds to the 5 projects listed in the handout, for which KYTC is responsible for oversight. And secondly, recommend that the TPC award a total of $453,996 in Indiana TAP funds to the 2 projects I just talked about. And I'd be happy to take any comments or questions at this time.
Are these separate actions?
They are.
Any other comments or questions? All right, so we need a recommendation to TPC for the Kentucky projects. Any takers?
So moved.
Second?
Yeah, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, great. Okay, on the second item, a recommendation to TPC on the Indiana TAP projects. Need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you very much, Nick.
Thanks.
Okay, Mr. Burton, our next agenda item here is project management process.
Thank you very much. This has been an ongoing process that we've heard about before and we've all been talking about since it was first introduced. My intention today on behalf of the KIPTA staff is to introduce to you some of the findings that we have come up with as a staff relative to the dedicated funds that are associated with the TIP, and then eventually seek volunteers to help us put together a working group to come up with different ways that we can deal with some of the issues we've identified. So I'm going to go through some of the things that we've discovered and talk about some of the things that might work to get us started in a discussion toward making things work a little bit better, and then we'll go from there. This is kind of a detailed presentation, so please feel free to ask questions as we go along. This has also been a staff-wide effort. I'm just the one who gets to hold the button. Okay, so today's discussion, during the presentation today, we're going to be focusing pretty much on the SLO funds, which are the urban funds that are made available to the state of Kentucky. But the effort we need to be talking about when we go forward from here are all of the dedicated funds that are available to the KIPTA NPO in the TIP. So that's the list of funds that we want to be talking about when we go forward. We're trying to talk about processes that we can use to improve the way projects advance in our area. The last piece we need to talk about is how projects transition from the Metropolitan Transportation Plan to the TIP. A little history. These are some of the things that we've done and are going to be doing. We staffed did a review of the dedicated funds, which led to seeking and gaining approval for a freeze or a hold on the SLO funds that are made available through the TIP. And then staff has since then been looking at possible options that we will think that the committee should consider as we go forward. Today we're going to present some of the findings, and then again seek assistance from you guys and get our working. This isn't new. This is a presentation. This is the presentation Mary Lou gave to you back in October 2015 when we indicated that we thought that there was a significant need to put a hold or a freeze on the SLO funds. So there is some history, and this is part of that history and part of what you were able to hear from Mary Lou back in October of 2015, about 5 months ago. Here are some of the issues we've identified as a staff. There are a couple of key ones, and this is a tip illustration, and be patient, but the color indicates a project. This is all kind of a simulation or make-believe. There, as you know, there are 4 years in the tip, and then what we call the future category. One of the big things that we keep addressing when we talk about the tip and projects and advancing projects are project cost increases. Each year of the tip has to be physically constrained, which means we can only have the cost of the projects we have in each year cannot exceed the amount of money that we think will be available for that given year. The future phase is unconstrained. There's no limit at this point. So in this example, we're going to assume that the right-of-way phase and the construction phase of the red and the blue projects went up in year 2. So now year 2 is no longer physically constrained. Therefore, the tip is no longer physically constrained. The general practice is there's a meeting to figure out, okay, project sponsors, how can we deal with this? So what generally happens is we'll take a phase out, we'll take the green U phase out, and we'll move to year 3. Well, now year 3 is not physically constrained. And we also have construction and utilities occurring in the same year, which really is a factor. So we'll take construction out and move it to year 4. Well, now year 4 is not physically constrained, so now I got to deal with that. So we take the design phase of another project and move to future. Now we have a physically constrained tip. Basically, what we've done is we've just shifted the burden from the 4-year program and increased the burden in the future year program because of the cost increases to the red and the blue project. That's one big issue that we deal with. The second has to do with project schedule shifts. Using the same projects that we talked about with the cost increases. In this particular scenario, what we're looking at is that someone says, oh, my design's not ready, I need to move it to the next year. Well, now year 2 is not physically constrained, so we have designed the right-of-way in the same year. That's not going to work in most cases, so we're going to move right-of-way into year 3 where we happen to have construction. Well, that's not going to work, so then we take, and year 3 is now not constrained anymore, off budget. So then we decide to move utilities to year 4. Well, now year 4 is no longer physically constrained, and so forth, and so on to the point where we have to move the right-of-way phase of another project into the future. Okay, but look, we've got a slot available in year 1. Somebody says, oh, I want to introduce the design phase of my project. I want to get that started. So we say, okay, let's put the design phase in there. Well, we are required by federal law to demonstrate that once a project's in the tip, it can be completed. But what we have, the subsequent 3 years of the tip are all physically constrained and there's no room. So what do? We put design phase in year 1, and we put the subsequent phases in the future. Again, we're loading up the future. And only because it's unconstrained. And that looks good now, but wait till we get a little bit further along the road. So here's the current tip. Right now, it's 16, 17, and 18. There's an annual allocation we get, there's a carryover, and then there's the balance available, and the projects that are programmed in that given year. In this case, the carryover funds, the $58 million, have come from the previous year of funds that were not obligated in 2015. And then each year, whatever's left over, the carryover amount will advance to the next year and so on. So we have something like this. This is the current program before the amendments that Mary just talked about. So we have the annual allocation of $17 million across the board, we have carryover funds. But the thing that you really need to pay attention to is why is there 3.5 years worth of annual allocation that has not been obligated? That's the first question we need to ask. $93 million in the future with the project basis, or basis of projects. That's a lot of money. And then only $300,000 available at the end of 2018, which gives us absolutely no wiggle room, unless we are willing to push more into the future. So let's do a little bit of the math. The current cost in the future phase right now is $93 million. We get $17 million of annual allocation today, which means it'll take us 6 years to obligate the funds necessary to complete the projects in the future phase. Of course, as the future phase goes up and we keep moving projects or cost increases occur that force us to keep putting more projects in the future phase, the time to obligate will also go up. So we'll be looking at 6 years now, 7 years tomorrow, 8 years next year, and so on. So we have 4 years of the TIP program and 6 years of the future, so that's 10 years to complete the projects in the SLO fund during the current TIP, not to obligate all the funds. And that's if the current program remains static. There are no more cost increases. The existing schedules were maintained and no new projects are introduced to get the existing projects in the TIP fund using SLO funds. Okay, well, I hope everyone already knows this, but there are 4 basic phases for project advance, and they may change, the terminology may change between states, but we program funds, when we program projects, they enter the TIP. When we authorize, we get the federal highway approval to advance a project. When we obligate, funds are made available to the project, and then we expend funds, the project can begin, and the funds are spent, and then through a reimbursement process. KIPSA's reach right now is just the 2 green ones, TIP. On controlling projects that enter the TIP, making sure that everything that we need for the TIP is completed. The other 3 phases belong to the LPAs and the states. So, something to keep in mind as we move forward. Other important considerations is this is just not dollars and cents issue. This is just about managing money. TIPs, when we program, they do enter the TIP, but we also make a commitment to the public that we're going to go forward with the projects that we've identified. They can expect them to be completed in a reasonable fashion, reasonable time frame. Make a commitment to the other LPAs that work on the SLO projects, who have projects in the SLO program. And we make a commitment to a planning process that we think that we all agree to participate in and work on. And we also have to deal with the accounting process of trying to keep all these projects balanced. And when we obligate, we fulfill those commitments to the public. We make sure that the community benefit we anticipated on making occurs. We demonstrate a future need. The best way for us to get more money to the area is to spend the money we have now. Then we can go knock on the doors and say, look, we're out of money. We need your help. State legislatures, Federal Highway Administration, grant money. Can you help us out? Well, as long as they see large balances of unobligated funds, why would they want to help us out? And then, of course, the planning process is enhanced. But we seem to be getting confused between the ideas of programming and obligation. We can program, and we're experts at programming projects in the TIP. No one can do better in this area. But the obligation is where the problem seems to be resting. If it wasn't a problem, we wouldn't be carrying nearly $60 million over from 2015 into 2016. So that's an issue. Right now, basically works. Projects don't advance as intended if they aren't obligated. We can program projects in the TIP as long as we want. And we can shift things around and we can play with an obligate. Because it doesn't really make any difference. The TIP will not function well unless projects are advancing. So what does the current TIP look like? In our analysis, we looked at the projects to see how long have they been in the TIP, how many times have they had to shift phases, or how many times have there been cost increases. Well, basically, the average length of time the project has been in the current TIP is 7 years. There are 28 projects that have been in there for 1 to 5 years, 21 for 6 to 10 years, 5 projects that have been in the TIP for 11 to 15 years, and 5 more that have been in the TIP requesting SLO funds over 16 years that have not been completed. Well, let's break it down a little bit more. design right-of-way, and utility, design, right-of-way, utility, and construction, and MP, no phases obligated to date. Okay. The way this works is years that tip 1 to 5 on down. So there are 13 projects in the years 1 to 5 that have gone as far as having the design obligated. That's it. None have gone through design and right, have had just design and right-of-way obligated. 7 have gone through design, right-of-way, and utility. 2 through design, right-of-way, utility, and construction, and 6 have had no phases obligated at all in the first year, first five years of the SLO program. Okay. So let's go a little bit further down the road. So we've had several projects that are at different points in the game. Take a second to look at that, make sure you understand it. Basically, in the total phase, there are 19 projects in the current TIP that have gone as far as design and not any further. There are 18 projects in the TIP that have not obligated anything, or may have obligated something 15 years ago, like a design phase. They have to obligate it, and then because it's been so long, they have to exit the design phase over again, so it's been reprogrammed. Those 10 projects that are from 11 to 16 plus, there are $73 million worth of phases that have been sitting in the TIP, or phases of projects that have been sitting in the TIP 11 to 15 years. $82 million beyond design, that first D, those 19 projects have $82 million worth of phases yet to fund, yet to obligate. Design, right-of-way, and utility, almost 30 million. No phases that have been obligated in the TIP. Those 18 projects represent $70 million. Here are a couple of thoughts we have. And again, if you have something you want to add, please do. Having projects that are older than 11 years old is getting to that point where it's unreasonable. The time frame to complete a project is not reasonable and may be considered beyond reasonable expectation on behalf of the public. We have $82 million worth of phases still yet to go for projects that had design obligated only. A lot of that's going to be costly and construction-wise. We have 17 projects that have completed design, right-of-way, and utility, and only need construction. $30 million. Let's move those along. Let's get those done. There's 2 of them that have been in there since 1999, 2000. And then there are 18 projects that have been in there that have not had any phases obligated to date, that are basically holding funds hostage for other projects that might be within things. So, based upon that, staff has come up with a pretty good list of issues. I'm not going to read them all, but I'll go slowly. The cost estimates that we received for the projects in the TIP, while they can't be exact, they're pretty far away from exact. Cost increases for some projects are 100% or more. And there's only $300,000 available in the current TIP program. So it's going to have to shift if the significant cost increases. Projects are going to have, or bases going to have to shift to that future category. The project cost balance in the future, yes, ma'am.
Would you say that the cost increases are more a result of bad estimates or more a result of things, you know, it costs $2 in 2010 and it costs $40 in 2020?
Yes.
You know, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the answer would be yes.
Yes.
Both.
But I mean, is it more one than the other, or is it,
That would
would
be-
you say they're equal?
That would be really
issues?
hard to determine. I would expect that the the bulk of those are underestimated,
Okay.
rather than changes of your expenditure.
Okay.
Although, when you do that, obviously, that's gonna be built into anything.
Right,
that you-
the result is the same, but I was just curious
But-
if you saw a trend. one
What
way or
we
the
do
other.
have happen though is we'll have a quarterly meeting and we'll say, oh, look, there's $1.5 million available. I have a phase that's going to require $1.5 million, let's add that to the tip. Well, then it comes time to actually move forward with that project and have more information. That $1.5 million phase that they introduced to the tip, so they could get it into the program, into the 4-year stream, was $3 or $4 million in reality. So that's one of the problems that we're dealing with. It's not just about getting the program, it's about getting it obligated. The timing. We are very concerned about the fact that it's going to take 10 years to complete all the projects in the current TIP without any cost increases, without any new project. You know, there's a reasonable time frame for advancing the project. The project has been in there for more than 11 years. I think we've gone beyond that reasonable expectation of project advancing. There seems to be a multi-year pattern of shifting projects and not obligating funds. We'll keep putting it off. We got it in there, we're not really ready, so let's just move to the next year. And which basically introduces false expectations of community benefit. You know, this goes to the public. It has an actual time frame associated with it, in a year that's anticipated to be open to the public. Lack of other things we thought was not really much consideration of the big picture. How will the change in my project affect my neighbor's projects or the other projects I have in the tip? There's a need for better coordination among all parties involved, because a lot of what we hear is, I would be able to advance my project if this person had done that. And that goes both ways. And another big one is Act 21 and now the FAST Act say that our planning process needs to contribute to achieving certain performance targets. And falling short of that does have consequences. So we need to be able to look at that and say, okay, this is what we need to be able to do. This is what we're going to shoot for. This is how we're going to get there. And under this time frame. Okay, well, so those are the issues that staff has identified at this point. From here, well, if we've identified issues, we can't just complain. So what can we do? Well, staff has come up with a list of possible options or considerations that might improve the process that we hope to present to this working group that we're going to form to help tweak and improve what we've already identified. Let's improve cost estimation. Let's plan for cost increases. Let's see what kind of conditions need to be available before we can actually accept new projects. Are the conditions right? Maybe, maybe not. Let's apply for funding. Let's not just introduce projects willy-nilly to the TIP without really giving full consideration as to what introducing your project might mean to the rest of the projects in the TIP. Let's talk about moving what we already have before we introduce anything new. Let's fulfill those commitments first. And let's look at the future phase. At some point we're going to have to say, wow, we can't really afford to continue to keep piling phases into the future at a greater rate than funds are becoming available to us. Timing, we need to improve project scheduling and maybe introduce a schedule review. Again, the application process, priority process, things that need to help us make better decisions. Maybe we should look at guidelines for shifting project phases. And maybe introduce project tracking and greater involvement of the committees as projects move forward. Improved understanding of the impact one project has on all the projects in the TIP. We are a collaborative process. Maybe we need to support the MTP goals, performance measures by improving transition from the MTP to the TIP. And let's improve project coordination between all departments so that we're all singing from the same hymn, reading the same book. So that leads to a working group. And we've already, we want to come up with what we're calling a project management plan for dedicated funds. And these would be the funds that we want to incorporate into that management process. We want to clarify some of the issues like future balance and project advancement, how projects advance, the relationship between the TIP and the plan, and shrinking that unobligated balance. We also want to talk about solutions or a plan for cost increases and how project faces shift. What types of priorities are we going to have in place, and what are the reasonable expectations that we as a planning body and the public can expect as we go forward with this planning process? And then lastly, the phase-in. You can't do it overnight. It's going to take some time. But what is a reasonable phase-in for this type of process? Who do we want involved? Get the staff, project sponsors, LPA, members of committees. We hope to begin in May and complete by July, if not before. We want to draft a project management plan that can be acceptable and taken to the policy committee. And they can adopt it, we can all live with it, work with it. Then lift the SLO freeze. Once we have a process that's going to help move things along. I thought these were kind of fun. And they kind of have some application of what we're talking about. I'm not going to read them to you. Bottom line is that if we continue on the current path without change, it's only going to lead to more problems. And we think that drafting the process will help us to fulfill commitments to the community and achieve the benefit that we said we would provide. It helps us realize the goals and objectives of the NTP, provide an opportunity to introduce more projects and do a better job. And let's all get us on the same page so we have a foundation of shared expectations. Jeff has a project, I have a project. We understand each other that what we need to do is work together to make sure both projects advance. That my project doesn't interrupt the advancement of Jeff's project because I didn't account for everything that I should have accounted for when I first project. I could have accounted for when I first project. So let's have some shared expectations. Okay, so we're seeking volunteers for TTC working group to draft a project management plan. Any volunteers?
Oh. We got, and David, I'd say, how many are you looking for?
As many as it can be. There's no limit on it.
Okay.
We want to keep it a functional working group, but we want everybody who thinks they can participate and contribute to the process, participate.
It'd be great to have good representation.
Excellent.
Will there be refreshments?
You have to come and find out.
Well, I'll throw out there for the record that Aida Kalpik had mentioned to me that she wanted to be part of this working group. So.
Anybody else?
I'm in.
You get to name somebody?
Put your hand up, Brian. Look for a second, I thought you changed your mind.
All right. Let's go. Tom, Beth, John, Matt, Dirk, Brian, Brittany, and Jim. We get everybody? Anybody? Did I miss anybody? Great.
Got them all there, or?
I've got it.
Who was the last one you said?
Jim.
Jim Urban.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jim Urban, not Jim Mims.
Jim, Burley.
I thought he was part of the KIPTA staff now.
I don't have some if you don't want me to.
I'll send Belinda.
You can bring refreshments.
Beer and pizza on J-Town.
Right.
I can do that.
Was that it? Was that it, David?
That's it, man.
All right.
That's all there is to it.
Any questions, thoughts? All right, great. I'm going to move on to item number 8, bike and pedestrian facilities inventory. Nick, you're going to tell us again.
I'm back.
Back.
So yeah, today I'm just presenting some information on some work we just started, we'll be working on throughout the summer. So staff at KIPTA is embarking on a quest to inventory all bicycle and pedestrian facilities. All bicycle and pedestrian facilities throughout the region. because obviously having a reliable and accurate inventory of all the current bike and pedestrian facilities throughout the region is going to be really the first step to kind of building up, the planning process in terms of bike and pedestrian. Until we know, where the current network is, where the sidewalks are, where the bike lanes are, it's hard to strategically improve the system we have today. And as it stands, we weren't able to find any kind of current, up-to-date, and reliable, data GIS file that mapped all of these facilities throughout our region. So we are going to go out in the field and do some survey work. Basically, the idea is, and the primary goal is to be able to create, at the end of the day, 2 GIS networks that obviously we can share with whoever needs them, but that'll be for all 5 counties in the metropolitan planning area. For this phase of data collection, we're focusing solely on the roads that are functionally classified by the federal government. The reason why we have 2 separate networks is, for the most part, bicyclists are not supposed to be on the sidewalks, and vice versa, you're not supposed to be walking in the bike lanes. So there's some exceptions, obviously, with kids and their bikes and being on the sidewalks. But for the most part, the bicycle network is going to consist of probably bike lanes and sharrows. I know there are some bike boxes and potentially some cycle tracks in the future. I know the Nulu is planning that. And the pedestrian network is obviously going to be primarily sidewalks and crosswalks. Additionally, we do plan to measure the width of the sidewalks, but we're not planning to do any kind of condition assessment or anything like that. We don't have the manpower quite yet to do anything that extensive. And in order to do all this work, staff will be out in the field, driving around the streets, collecting that data, and we're not going to be relying on aerial photographs. So hopefully this will be the most reliable and accurate kind of network that's out there. The current schedule for our inventory is provided here. We've already completed the work in Bullitt County with about a week. I think we should be wrapping up Oldham County either this week, if not next. And then obviously Jefferson County will be the bulk of the work from what we think will be April to June. Yes, ma'am.
I was just wondering, earlier you have a slide showing you're building that pedestrian network, sidewalk and crosswalks. Does that include any trails, anything that also used for pedestrian purposes in the subdivision, but it's not fitting one of these definitions?
Yeah, that's a good question. And at the end, I have a slide to kind of talk about future considerations. The short answer is no, not at this time.
Not this time.
Because we're going to be driving in the vehicle,
Right.
and if it's not on or near the roadway, it's going to be difficult for us.
What we're inventorying right now is what's adjacent to the roadway, and we're tying it to the centerline network that the cabinet has established for the
But
road
we
network.
definitely understand and want to include the off-road multi-use paths, because obviously they're a key connector.
Sometimes just mid-block sidewalk, something
Yep.
like that.
This is focusing more on these networks as for transportation purposes rather than recreational.
Correct. That's our primary focus. The people who are using them to, for commuting.
So are you going look what we have already in maps and compare?
My understanding is, and I don't think Adam is here from our GIS team, is that we went through data that we had and what we had on hand, and it wasn't quite what we were looking for.
Right, but I'm saying, are you going to use what you have and do driving to stuff that you don't have, or?
We are going to go clean slate, brand new, hit every single functionally classified road and figure out what's on there in the next 3 to 6 months. So
We're not going to depend on the other data that we have. Logic, for instance, has a sidewalk layer, but it includes sidewalks that go up to the doors of houses and sidewalks in alleys and things like that. We're not going to do that. So we're trying to look at it because we're looking at all 5 counties first of all, and we want everything to be the same. So we're going to inventory, actually drive every single functionally classified roadway in the region.
Just so I understand, because I may be using terms wrong, but when you say functionally classified, you mean anything functionally that's classified greater than a local? I mean, local roads wouldn't be included, but anything?
There are some locals that are actually in the system, but by and large, it's collector and above.
Yeah, Nick, Metro had recently used Transmap to get our pavement conditions, but we are also collecting information on the curbs and sidewalks adjacent to the road. So that, I believe we're going to end up with on that. And that would be, and we only did it on our collectors and arterials at this time. So we may have substantial information to save you a lot of effort. The bike facilities, I think we can probably provide you pretty good information on what we have on the ground as well. Would be more work for us to separate out from the local streets that we got Sharrows on. So we may just give it all to you.
Okay.
If that was something that would benefit your efforts.
I think it definitely can't hurt. I think it would send me out value.
Send this information to Adam.
You can send it to Adam. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Great.
I think we can save you some time, I hope. We don't really have much on the state system. We've got an inventory of where ramps are missing as part of the ADA transition plan.
Okay.
That we have formally adopted our plan.
Well, one of the reasons why
that includes every bit of the classification, classified roadways, state, regardless of owner.
We're not getting into the ADA compliance with this inventory.
Okay.
That's an LPA responsibility, owner of the sidewalk responsibility more than it is ours. If we complete this inventory and it's less of an effort than we expect it to be, we may go back in the not too distant future and start picking up the ramps, things like that. So, but that's the next thing you're going to get into in a second is how to maintain that information. I mean, we're taking a snapshot today of this circumstance, so we'll need everyone's help in updating it in the future.
So back to the schedule, we hope to start Jefferson County pretty soon, but Dirk, the information you have may help guide us or aid us in that, and maybe shorten that time frame. And then finishing up in Floyd and Clark County, hopefully in July, finalize these networks in August, and be able to come out and present findings and show what we have after the process is complete. What do we expect to gain from this? Primarily an accurate and up-to-date inventory of all the facilities, bike and pedestrian, located on the federal functionally classified roads. At that point, we can then do gap analysis, identify where there are key missing sidewalks, are there quick fixes that we can address to make our network more complete and walkable. Use that to prioritize bike and pedestrian projects. And these are just ideas, these are not set in stone things. Of course, we will come back to the committees for approval of any sort of thing like this, but then they could also be used as part of the Transportation Analysis District work that we do with the MTP and various other studies. And then finally, some future considerations. Once we have these networks, obviously, the things we can do and build upon, somewhat endless, but one idea would be to collect the off-road, the shared use paths, and have those built into the same network, because obviously a bicyclist can be on a bike lane and then be neighboring Cherokee Park or something like that and hop on a pathway. Same thing with a pedestrian on a sidewalk. They can use those paths and can aid them just as well as a sidewalk. Another idea would be to inventory those local roads, and if folks already have that file and that mapping already done, obviously that shortens the time frame, but it builds our network of data for the entire region. The third point here is what Larry mentioned, is develop some kind of system to where we're not having to go out in the field and do this, or anybody's having to go out in the field and do this, and have a way to, as projects are built and completed, go out there and just add that, pretty soon after. I mean, it's probably more complicated than it sounds, but it's something obviously we'd like to, eventually work with y'all on. And then again, what we talked about with condition rating is kind of, step 100 of this, but that is my presentation today. It's just for information, but I'd be happy to get as much information, comments from y'all as.
Would you be willing to share this data with Logic so they can?
Absolutely, yeah.
So
it will be shared with anyone who wants to use it.
They would put it in their system, so anybody who's using Logic would be able to pull it up.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's the end goal, is everyone using the same data with the same maps and
Yeah.
the same up-to-date network.
That would be great.
Other questions, comments? All right. Thank you, Nick.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it. Okay, item number 9, the fiscal year 2017 Unified Planning Work Program. Larry, take it away. We need
Yes.
action on this item, correct?
Yes, we do. This document, hopefully some of you at least have gone through the link. It's a 70 to 80 page document that I'm sure you reviewed thoroughly. It details what we're going to do with our planning funds over the next year. It's a document that we file with both states and with the Federal Highway Administration and FTA. They all have a chance to review it and approve it. The draft has been prepared, and you can access it on this link here. We'd like to ask for the TTCC's recommendation to the TPC to approve this document. It's essential for us to have approval of the document in April to receive our PL funds come 1st of July from both states. And I would entertain any changes to the document, any comments, any assurances that anyone looked at it?
You know I looked at it.
I know you would.
I read it and had no comments. Anybody else?
We do need action.
Okay, anybody have any questions or comments? All right, do you have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Any opposed?
Thank you.
Other business? Any other business? Okay, I will say, I'll go ahead and take the floor and say that tomorrow evening at the TARC headquarters at 6 o'clock, we will be having a public meeting regarding the Move Louisville land. So anybody that's interested, please come. We'll have more excitement tomorrow at the Regional Mobility Summit regarding Move as well.
Preview.
So, okay, take a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, we are adjourned.
Yeah, I think we said, no, today